Hello, my name is Leopold, and I am the Southern California Area Representative for the EOCS. My home parish is St. Demetrius Greek Orthodox Church of Ventura County, located approximately halfway between Los Angeles and Santa Barbara, California. St. Demetrius currently sponsors a Cub Scout pack, a Scouts BSA troop for boys, a Scouts BSA troop for girls, and 2 Girl Scout troops. My talk today is the role of religion in scouting, and what is expected of scout leaders, and what scouts should expect from their leaders. I'll start by stating that the mission of the Eastern Orthodox Committee on Scouting, in part, is to support and conduct the mission of our Lord and His Church by encouraging the use of scouting as part of the youth ministry program of the Church, and recognize its youth members, whether in units sponsored by Eastern Orthodox churches or registered in units sponsored by other institutions. The mission of the Boy Scouts of America and the missions of the Girl Scouts USA, Campfire Boys and Girls, Trail Life USA, and American Heritage Girls all have statements pertaining to a scout's duty to God and encourage the active practice of their duty through their thoughts, words, and actions. One example of such a statement is contained in the Charter and Bylaws of the Boy Scouts of America, which states, "The Boy Scouts of America maintains that no member can grow into the best kind of citizen without recognizing an obligation to God. The recognition of God as the ruling and leading power in the universe, and the grateful acknowledgement of His favors and blessings are necessary to the best type of citizenship and are the wholesome precepts in the education of the growing members. No matter what the religious faith of the members may be, this fundamental need of good citizenship should be kept before them. The Boy Scouts of America therefore recognizes the religious elements in the training of the member, but it is absolutely non-sectarian in its attitude towards that religious training. Its policy is that the home and the organization or group with which the member is connected shall give definite attention to religious life." Now, while my next remarks speak to the Boy Scout program specifically, an equivalent statement can be applied to all the programs that we call scouting. From an advancement perspective, every rank from Tenderfoot to Eagle Scout includes a duty to God requirement. The requirements ask scouts to reflect upon their own belief. They don't ask the scout leader to have a two-way conversation about religion, or to proselytize, or to evaluate whether the scout's duty to God meets the scout leader's personal standard. It is instead a monologue by the scout, and not a dialogue between the scout and their leader. The requirement is considered complete once the scout has told how they have done their duty to God. While young scouts, this could be a very brief statement, and as the scout gets older and their belief matures, this telling will evolve. The scout leader is there to listen, not to evaluate a scout's expression against any standard. The scout leader and one or more of their scouts will have different religious beliefs, and that's perfectly fine. In fact, it's healthy. So, how does one handle advancement when a scout says that he or she doesn't believe in God? We've probably all heard horror stories of scouts being asked during their Eagle Scout Board review about how they've done their duty to God, only to have the youth say they don't believe in God. Have we not somehow failed such a young person who apparently is not concerned about violating the first and 12th parts of the Scout Law? In my opinion, we've not delivered the full scouting program if duty to God is first addressed at the time of their Eagle Board. The shortest answer is that we should help scouts and their families come to realize that a belief in God is integral to scouting and is a key element in character building. This doesn't reflect a change in BSA policy, nor does it place scouters in a role of being a scout's religious leader. But by signing the membership application, each leader has acknowledged the Declaration of Religious Principle, which affirms a belief in God, calls for an appreciation of the faith of others, and acknowledges the importance of faith in citizenship development. Moreover, this same direct declaration of religious principle is included on the youth application form, which is to be signed by the parents. All signatories are also reminded that the BSA is absolutely non-sectarian in its attitude toward that religious training. Its policy is that the home and organization or group with which the member is connected shall give definite attention to religious life. And by the time a young person has achieved the Summit Award in venturing, he or she will have completed a structured personal reflection related to adventures in faith. In keeping with Scouting being non-sectarian in matters of faith, the requirement states that the venturer is not required to share the personal reflection associated with adventures of faith with his or her advisor, nor those of the member of the Board of Review. In other words, Scouting strongly affirms that this fulfillment of duty to God, while looking to the Scouts family and religious leaders, provides a faith-specific guidance, and from additional recognition perspective, the youth level chaplain aide is a position of responsibility that's recognized for rank advancement for Star, Life, and Eagle Scout. Okay, so with all this emphasis on religion and faith, what does this really mean? What role does religion play in the Scouting movement? Let's set the stage and look at a few quotes attributed to the founder of the Scouting movement. Lord Robert Baden-Powell himself said in an article entitled "In the Footsteps of the Father" back in November of 1920, "There is no religious side to the movement. The whole of it is based on religion, that is, on the realization and service of God." In 1926, in a letter to Scout leaders, BP wrote, "I've been asked to describe more fully what was in my mind as regards to religion when I instituted Scouting and guiding. I was asked, where does religion come in? Well, my reply is, it doesn't come in at all. It's already there. It's the fundamental factor underlying Scouting and guiding." In BP's handbook, Scouting for Boys, he writes, "Religion seems a very simple thing. First, love and serve God. Second, love and serve your neighbor." So what does this mean for us as members of Scouting? Well, to me, it's pretty simple. Scouting teaches our youth, and us adult leaders for that matter, to do our duty to God through program delivery, special observances, and partnerships with various faith-based organizations, because the Scouting program believes in an obligation to God. And Lord Robert Baden-Powell, the founder of Scouting, believed that religion is a key component to the movement. And doing one's duty to God, no matter whatever the faith, can be stated very simply in 3 words: walk the talk. At the council and district encampments, such as retreats, camporees, and summer camp, we can hold interfaith worship services. And nationally at jamborees and conferences, there have been both interfaith and faith-specific services available to Scouts and Scout leaders. And hopefully at the unit level, our units hold a Scout's own, or at the least recite a non-denominational grace such as the Philmont grace at each meal. Some councils hold activities such as a 10 Commandments hike, or a 12 Points bike ride, or a Duty to God breakfast as part of their commitment to our duty to God. We're expected to not only say we follow the tenets of our specific faith belief, but we act upon it too. We go and do, not stay and say, when it comes to doing our duty to God within Scouting. We are constantly reminded about this through our regular repetition of the Scout Oath and Law. The Scout Oath and Law are 2 methods of program delivery that emphasizes a Scout's duty to God. So we can think of them as bookends. The Boy Scout Oath states first and foremost that on our honor, we will do our duty to God. And then we end with the 12th point of the Scout Law that states a Scout is reverent. Scouting doesn't tell you how to do it. It's expected of all. The how of this comes to each of us through our adherence to our particular faith teachings and obligations. One way to think about this is to look at our own lives and understand that under the tutelage of our religious leaders, We're taught moral and ethical principles as part of our faith. And then through our activities and actions as scouts, we're taught how to put these principles into our regular daily lives. This is also called demonstrating Scout spirit. Now, too often we make it very difficult for everyone. It's not difficult to do one's duty to God, no matter the differences between the various faiths of the individuals. Again, the Boy Scouts of America succinctly states, central to the Scout Oath is the pledge to do my duty to God. And the 12th point of the Scout Law states, a Scout is reverent. These commitments to the prominence of God in one's life form a cornerstone of the Scouting program. When properly interpreted by the Scout leader of strong faith to young people, even the unchurched begin to understand their need for God. Yes, a belief in God is cornerstone to Scouting. And as Scout leaders, we have a tremendous opportunity to reflect this core principle while helping teach respect for the beliefs of others in the pursuit of doing our duty to God. Thank you.